what's up guys, I'm here with another video for you, charm review video. So, we see Harry in the attic. Of course, in the previous video, the last part of the episode, we see Harry in the attic doing that green stuff, going into Jimmy's mindscape, and he's doing that again, and he's seeing where his Darklighter is, and he's hearing him call him out for help. And while that's happening, we see the girls out in the backyard trying to get the Power 3 back. And of course, Macy comes in, as if there's sage out there, or if they brought out the sage. Maggie or Mel tells her it's on the porch, and Macy was gonna go straight to go get it, but then she knew that she has her powers back, might as well try it out, see what happens. So she picks it up with her hand, or with her mind, and Maggie does this to Mel's shoulder to let her know that, look what Macy's doing, they're happy that she's doing it, and then out of nowhere, Maggie gets a premonition of what's gonna happen, and she tells Macy, look out, because something was gonna hit towards her, and of course they're freaking out. And then we see the girls go into the house, and they're wondering, like, what was disrupting the Power 3, them getting it back. And then Maggie happens to suggest that it probably might have deal with Abigail stripping Macy's power, and probably did something to disrupt it. And of course, Mel and Macy doesn't think so, but Maggie suggests that they should see if it's the case. And then Macy happens to mention, are you sure it's not because you want to see a certain someone? And they, I think, talk about Harry and Jimmy, his Darklighter, and then out of nowhere, Harry comes in saying that he's trapped or something. And then they talk about how if something happens to his Darklighter, something happens to him. So they go back to say Seattle, and Harry mentions that he was trying to get into Jimmy's mindscape again, but nothing has happened, and that he was calling out for help and stuff. And they were standing in front of the door where it leads to their command center, and they talk about what if they save him, would they sick him on them again? And then Macy's like, what if we separate them and stuff? And of course, Harry freaks out, but then when they went in, when no one wasn't looking, when they were going in, they talk about a lot of things. And then Mel's like, me and Harry will go find his Darklighter. And then Macy said, me and Maggie are gonna figure out how to separate them for good, like how the elders did. And Harry looks at Macy when Macy's like, Harry, we'll see you soon, we'll see you again. And of course, they exchange looks to where Maggie notices it, like probably somewhere in season 1, like she did in season 1. Maggie and Macy go into the command center, and Maggie's like, that she was mentioning that she saw the look Macy and Harry was exchanging to each other, and she asked if Macy, if she stands with Julian or if she stands with Harry, if she still has feelings for Harry and stuff. And Macy's like saying that she doesn't know where Harry stands, because of the couple of past episodes he's been like with Abigail and stuff, and what happened between him and Abigail. And then Macy found like a spell, and then Maggie's like, it requires the power of 3, and they're still trying to figure out how to deal with that while trying to save Harry from not dying. And of course, before Harry did leave, I forgot to mention it, that Macy told Harry that she doesn't want to lose him, and of course that made him feel like probably a little bit happy that she doesn't want to lose him. And then of course you see Mel and Harry go to where Jimmy's at, his dark lighter, and he gets like, Harry ends up getting a migraine and said that's where it is. And of course they open it, and then they see like the people there moving things and stuff, and see that the place is going locked down, and Harry makes him and Mel look up to where they're actually at, and said that they need to hurry, they don't have no time. And of course they go to the door that was in the mindscape, and Harry's wondering why he couldn't go in there. Mel said, I got it. While she's doing that, Harry can hear Jimmy, but he's not in the room that Mel is trying to open, but in another room. And of course Harry orders in there. Sorry. He keeps getting like a little migraine, and you can hear Jimmy's voice. And of course he finds Jimmy back into this like whatever you call it, bottle that he was in the first time when they did that with Harry and him. Of course, and then we see back into the command center where Macy's like, you're going to Abigail, are you sure that's a good idea and stuff. And I think that's when she mentions Parker. So Maggie said that she just wants to see if it's true or not and stuff. So she goes do that, and of course she finds out that one ingredient to the potion, or to the influencer potion, is out. So she goes to the Vickery store, I think that's what you call it, and she gets in, and of course Jordan's there. He talks to Maggie, talking about how it's just a moment, nothing else, that he'd rather risk it with them instead of not doing it, because apparently it's gonna kill him and his ancestor. Maggie ends up bringing him along, but doesn't mention that Parker's alive because she was sworn to secrecy. And then we see back again with Macy in the command center doing like experiments and stuff, like how any scientist will, and she tries every bit of thing to see if it works. Nothing worked. And then we see back at where Mel and Harry's at, and Harry's like, Mel, stop, I found him and stuff, and they're wondering what was in that room. And of course, out of nowhere, well, actually, we all know that in the beginning, like when Mel and Harry ordered, they went to where the Dark Lighter had all the creatures there, but there wasn't anymore. And then they did a like potion spell to see what actually happened there, like how Macy and Harry did with Jordan's curse, and they found out what happened and the monster and stuff. So they see the same monster at that place, and of course Harry gets a migraine because the monster was holding his Dark Lighter, and Mel does this and tries to like get it out of the monster's hand, and of course Harry jumps in and gets it, and it disappears. And then Mel ends up going unconscious, and then we see one part of the episode where Macy's like in like the cafe, or however you say it, and she's trying the experiment on eggs. And of course Julian calls, she's happy, she's like, hey. And she tries to like probably lie her way out or try to get out of having like dinner with Julian, even though she wants to. And Julian happens to be there, and of course he knew that Macy was gonna probably get out of it to do her thing, and he keeps playing around with her about an egg metaphor with her and stuff, and they talk about Harry, but Julian doesn't know, and of course Julian's wondering if he don't want to, that Macy doesn't want to see him and stuff, but he doesn't know the real truth behind all of it. And Macy finds out that Julian knows like half of the things she knows and asks for his help. And then so they do that, and then we see Maggie and Jordan go to Abigail's place, and of course Abigail just hits on him, even though they know that she hits on Harry, which is so weird that she's hitting on Harry, she's hitting on Jordan. Oh my gosh. But nothing's new with her, honestly. And so Maggie lied that Mel texted her, and instead she ends up getting one of Abigail's minions, men something, and she put the influencer on one of her minions, and she went downstairs or down in the dungeon where Parker is, and she finds the weapon place, and of course you see Parker save Vera, and he's like his normal self, and they talk about what happened and that Maggie couldn't forgive him and stuff, and then we see Parker tell her that at least let me help, and she lets him help by asking where's the dagger or the knife that strips the powers, and Parker tells her it's in like this like drawer but in a hidden compartment. She finds it, and of course Abigail like takes it out of her hand, and she assumed that Maggie was gonna use it to take Parker's demon powers away, but that wasn't the case. It was to find out if Abigail disrupted their power 3 and stuff, or it's probably because of them. And then Jordan lied that he wanted to distract her while Maggie did that. So they leave, and then we see like Mel and Harry back where they were, and Mel gets up and asks, "You're alive?" He said yes, and they find out who was the vessel of the demon, and find out it was the corpse that Nadia was trying to resurrect, and then they find out that that's what they were trying to do. So we see them go back to the house, but then before Maggie goes back to the house, she talks to Jordan, says sorry to Jordan about it, and then Maggie goes to the command center to find Macy continuing, and Macy talks about merging and stuff with Maggie, and they talk about that, and then we see Macy and Harry in the attic talking about that they finally got his Darklighter and whatnot, and of course Macy wasn't gonna lie to Harry about it because it's his life, it's his choice, and she talks about a possible of merging, and that but they don't know who will be in control, and she doesn't highly recommend it to him because but it's still his life. So Harry talks about how he never thought about being whole before and stuff, or if he was ever going to be whole again. And then he tells Macy that whatever he has done past like weeks and stuff, that he hopes that he doesn't lose his friend. And of course, Macy hugs him and say, "You haven't." And well, she hugs him to tell him that he hasn't lost her as a friend. And then we see them go their separate ways. And of course, the girls are in like the fireplace section, or in the loft, I think that's what you call it, or library, and they talk about how there possibly a reason why they couldn't get the Power 3 back, or that they need to try to like find out what's disturbing it if it's not Abigail. And then after that, we see, after they're done talking about all that, we end up seeing like a bunch of people in like, or at least 3, 4, 5 people in a room talking about how magic has gotten the way of them, or put them in dangerous ways and stuff, and that it's only them to save the humankind. So when the episode ended after that, that really got like to my curious side, like, what are they actually planning? Is Nadia working with them? And what's in store with Abigail and Harry now that possibly there's probably be a chance for Harry and Macy to happen. Who knows? We don't know yet until the next couple of episodes. And then what happens to the sisters in the next episode, so that's what I'm curious about. So yeah, that's it for today's video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, tap the notification bell to always be notified, because weekly videos are always gonna happen. I'm not gonna non-stop doing this. This is my passion. This is what I want to do, and also that's for a whole another set of video. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.